Welcome to Peace and Love, the Pulse of Humanity. And that's P.U.L.C.E, Peace, Unity, Love, Collaboration, and Embrace. And today I have a return guest, Michael Santonato. Last week he was with us to talk about finances, and today he's here to talk to us about cryptocurrency. And what is it about cryptocurrency that we could be doing or not doing at this time of challenge for humanity? So Michael, first of all, is my guru when it comes to cryptocurrency. He's my go-to guy. But more importantly, Michael became more entrenched in the world of finances when he met his now wife, Jessica, and her kids, because they became a family. And he became so present to the fact that not only did he have to educate this family and these children and be responsible for their well-being and who they are in the world, but he also had to take care of them from a financial point of view. So luckily he comes from parents who were in the banking world, so he had a little bit of that background, but he's just my guru about anything having to do with finances. I love him. I welcome you, Michael, and if I left something out or you want to add something in, feel free to do that.
Oh, it's great. It's great to be back with you. Great to see you again and speak and connect about this really important topic. Thank you.
Awesome. So, cryptocurrency is already a fairly new topic to many people. And now we have this added mix in the cauldron called coronavirus. And, everybody's topsy-turvy with their finances and stuff like that. Talk to us a little bit about cryptocurrency from that perspective, and I'll jump in when I have questions, because I'm a newbie like everybody else, and my questions will probably help to facilitate the conversation.
For sure, definitely. I'm going to start with why cryptocurrency was invented. And there's a lot of different speculation and ideas out there about why it was invented. However, the best thing, as you know, is to always go back to the source.
Yeah.
So the source of cryptocurrency is Bitcoin. And in the Bitcoin code, wait, let me pause for a second. For those people that don't know, Bitcoin is a digital asset. It's a digital asset, meaning it's an asset. An asset is something that grows or appreciates in value over time, adds to your balance sheet, your positive net worth. And digital meaning you'll never find it physical. You can't touch it or feel it. You'll never, like, this is a piece of paper, even though the virtual background's not showing that it's blending in with the light and the sunshine. It's digital, so it's strictly digital, right? Sort of like your cell phone. Everything on there is digital. So it's a digital asset. And why was it invented? If we go back to the source of the code in the Bitcoin programming, what we find is there's a couple sentences there, and I encourage people to do their own research and just Google, Bitcoin white paper or Google Bitcoin source code, and you'll be able to get a description and a couple videos there explaining it. So in this source code, essentially the creator wrote in the code that we need a decentralized monetary system, and we need a deflationary asset. We need a deflationary financial instrument, okay? So our current system is a central authority. The central banks control it. The Federal Reserve, the Canadian Mint. These are the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. These are institutions that have complete control over the entire system. It's a central banking, central authority controlled structure. So they dictate the money inflow and outflow of the world. And so this is very problematic because it's one small group that are making all the decisions. And they're making decisions, most likely with the few in mind, because there's only a few of them, rather than the many. So we have a few people that make decisions for the many. We have a few people that make decisions for billions of people.
So when you say they're making decisions, what kind of decisions are they making?
Great question. So right now, about a month ago when this whole Corona thing started, they said that it would be a $1 trillion stimulus package, which is a loan from the Federal Reserve, which is a business, it's a privately owned corporation, not a government entity. They're going to loan the US government $1 trillion, okay? Now it's increased to $2 trillion. And at one point they were even talking about $1 trillion a day. So this is essentially a bailout. Okay, and we lived through a bailout about 12 years ago, 10, 11 years ago, right? With the last major recession, 2008, 2009. So this was a bailout. This was a loan. This was a loan package that the Federal Reserve and the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, gave money to governments, and the governments have to pay back this loan. And the governments give the loans to who? To banks and corporations. Now, there's a really funny movie, you know, Will Ferrell, everybody loves Will Ferrell. He did this really great movie with Mark Wahlberg called The Other Guys. A lot of people have seen it. It's a funny Hollywood movie about two, you know, straight edge cops that are really like desk paper crunching cops that wanted to be the action hard, fight them, kill them, gun toting, bang, bang, you know, cops like in Bad Boys, right? It's such a funny movie because there's these two goofy desk, you know, glasses wearing guys that wanted to be part of the action. Well, they stumbled on this big criminal operation that was basically white collar crime. Okay, now you can, I think it's on Netflix. You can check it out on Netflix. The best part of the film is the ending credits. Okay, in the ending credits, they talk about, and they display for the viewer, if you stay and watch throughout the ending credits, where that bailout money went. So that bailout money package in the US, I think, was $700 trillion, or sorry, $700 billion, okay? It was, I think it was between 600 and 800 billion dollars. Remember, this is 2009, okay? At the end credits of the film, it shows all the bonuses that were paid out to the executives of the banks. And the figures, the exact figures, which is public knowledge, the exact figures of how many millions and millions and millions of dollars were given out in bonuses that year to the executives of the banks.
Wow.
Okay. So in the 2008, 2009 recession, who got the money? The auto companies, the banks, and other companies and their executives. Okay, this is published fact. In the 2008, 2009 crash, everyday people did not get money. Okay, the bailouts were, you know, in the $700 billion range, and everyday average people did not get any money. What happened is millions and millions of people lost their homes, right? Lost their homes. Something like 2 million in Canada lost their homes, and something like 20 million or 40 million in the US lost their homes, okay? They did not get the money. This time around, our government, the Canadian government, is giving people money. They're giving businesses money. They're giving individuals money. Parents are getting money if they have kids, right? For every kid, they're getting money. In the US as well, people are actually getting money, okay? And then EI and things like that. The governments have bolstered EI. So this time around, they've done things a little better. But we're gonna see who's gonna get the money this time around. So going back to Bitcoin, Bitcoin was created so that it could be owned by the people and it could be decentralized. So Bitcoin is a decentralized, autonomous, automated currency, which is digital, which has the inherent laws of supply and demand built in. Okay, I'm going to continue one little piece, and then if you have a question, I'll go for it. Okay. The main key benefits of Bitcoin is that it's digital. Governments cannot print it whenever they want. Like right now, they're printing money like crazy, which adds inflation to us, the consumers. So our rising cost of goods goes up over time. And also, there's no guarantee that the money's going to come to us. Okay, and Bitcoin is decentralized. It's automated. It's also publicly visible. So Bitcoin is a what's called the blockchain. It invented this incredible technology called the blockchain, which the blockchain is changing the way we do business. It's changing the way we live. The blockchain is a transparent, open public ledger. So imagine being able to see the bank statements of where every dollar goes within the banks, within corporations. You know, there's another great documentary on Netflix called Dirty Money, which tells how HSBC Bank has illegally laundered billions of dollars for the cartel, for the Mexican cartels. This is public knowledge. But again, this is not, everyday knowledge, but the information's out there. So they were convicted, fined, little slap on the wrist, even though they helped finance, the drug cartel business, which is obviously a terrible business, right? Because it has such negative impacts on people. So in the blockchain, in the Bitcoin system, you can see publicly where money goes to who and how much. So if someone's moving billions of dollars, you can track it and anyone can see it transparently. And that's pretty much Bitcoin in a nutshell.
Okay. So is Bitcoin something that we should be looking at? So, like, I don't pretend to know anything about investing in finances right now. And I know that that's how this whole conversation started, because we were talking about finances last week.
Yeah.
And we didn't actually touch on the Bitcoin, on the cryptocurrency or the Bitcoin part of it.
Yes.
So the one thing I do know is there's more than Bitcoin. There's a whole bunch of other currencies.
Yes.
So I guess, so a couple of questions. One, how do we know what currencies are to invest in and not invest in? And is now a time to be investing in Bitcoin?
Yes.
Or cryptocurrency to begin with?
Great question. Yeah, so fantastic question, Mimi. Thank you so much. Bitcoin has been around for over 10 years now, okay? It's been in existence for over 10 years. And historically, this has been the best performing asset, that's the best performing investment of any other over the last 10 years. So it started out as worth less than a penny, right, 10 years ago, and now it's $10,000 Canadian.
Wow. So
averaged out over the last 10 years, that's the fastest growing asset that's available to humans right now over the last 10 years, okay? Now there's over 5,000 different cryptocurrencies, okay? If you want to know which ones to look at and invest in, that takes a lot of time and research. So an individual needs to do a lot of time and research, or they need to consult with someone who knows a lot. So
that would be where you come in.
I could come in there. A couple other things about that. I do have a course that people can take online called Everything You Need to Know About Bitcoin in 2 Hours. And that's available on my website, and we might have links in the description and things like that.
Right. And just say your website at this moment.
My website is michaelsantonato.com. So you can
okay.
see my
and I'll put it down below, because Santonato is not the easiest thing to spell.
It might be here on the video, but you'll have it in the title.
Oh yeah, it is on the video.
Yeah.
That's true.
You can also just Google search my name. I got a very unique name. I got 2 cousins with the same name, but I'm the only one doing, public information on the internet,
Okay.
So it is the best performing asset of any class. It is a new technology. This is an important piece to understand, is it's a new technology. It's only been around for 10 years, okay? The most mind-blowing facts about inventions, we take for granted, right? We totally take for granted how long it takes for a new technology to come into play. Whether that's, by the time the FM radio came out, it took, 20 years for it to be in every household.
Right.
The refrigerator, same thing. The refrigerator now, absolutely without a doubt, every house, home, apartment, condo has a refrigerator. But from the time the refrigerator came out to the time it ended up in 90% of the homes was about probably, 20 years as well, okay? So every new game-changing technology takes time. So we are 10 years with this technology. There's more and more improvements, more and more innovation. The more time goes on, the more improvements and the more innovation is being adapted in this now, new asset class. So which ones do you invest in? You don't invest in any right off the bat. You educate yourself. You understand. You need to take time and understand. My parents taught me a lot about all aspects of personal finance, like the other video we did last week. And when they came to investing, they always said, you only invest in what you understand. So when I first started in Bitcoin, it was 4 years ago, I started with $300. Okay, I started with $300. Now I've got thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars that I'm just doing different things with, okay? However, I started with $300. So number one is start small. Number one is actually educate yourself and be informed. Number 2 is start small. Okay, and then number 3 is continue to educate yourself and stay abreast. So you're either going to take matters into your own hands and learn and educate yourself, or you're going to pay someone else to do it, or you're going to do a bit of both. And I recommend a bit of both, because those who have invested the time to understand, they can distill the important concepts down for you in a matter of minutes or hours,
Right.
as opposed to what took them weeks and weeks to understand. So in the course that I talked about that I published, I did some events educating people on Bitcoin back in 2017, because I had done hours and hours and hours of research. And I became absolutely certain that this would be a growing technology, a growing asset, and just a matter of time before it replaces old technology, right? I couldn't pay you enough money to go back to a dial-up telephone internet, right? I couldn't pay you enough money to go back to using fax machines over email.
Right.
I couldn't pay you enough money to go back to your pager instead of your smartphone.
Right.
Right. I rented a car for fun on Turo. I rented a Camaro. It was a 2018 Camaro during this whole COVID crisis. I did something fun for myself. It did not have the GPS in the front. It did not have the GPS on the screen. And I'm driving a 2015 Subaru.
Right.
And my 2015 Subaru has the GPS on the screen. So I took my kids out for a ride in the Camaro, and they said, "Would you buy this car?" I said, "No." They said, "Why not?" I go, I don't want to live without the GPS on the screen anymore. It just seems goofy to me. So it's just a matter of time before new technology replaces old technology. That's a fact of life. Okay. And Bitcoin has been around for 10 years. 3 years ago, there was 1,300 different cryptocurrencies. Now there's over 5,000. So we're entering this place where there's this rate of adoption and acceleration that's just about to go up like this. It's just about to go what's called parabolic and skyrocket like this. There's a survey that was done by a major financial institution. I got it on my desktop here, but I'll just save you the trouble. And they surveyed millennials, and millennials said that when surveyed, over 60% of them would rather trust their money with a cryptocurrency than a bank.
Yes.
Okay. Now this is millennials.
That survey.
So the children are our future. So I look at my kids, they're the future. They're what's going to be next. They're going to dictate what's next, what's coming in the world, right? A millennial created Facebook. And look how big Facebook is, right? So you got to pay attention to what the kids are doing. And so my kids these days, the concept of cash or checks or bank drafts, is so foreign to them. They do all their banking digitally. Yeah. And that's my kids. My kids aren't even at the point where they have purchasing power. Right?
And how old are they?
13, 15, and 17.
Okay.
So I'm a millennial. I've got the purchasing power. We're the generation. We've got the money. We're the purchasing power. We're the future now. My kids are the future's future. Right. So my generation would rather trust their money with cryptocurrencies than with banks.
Yeah.
So this change is coming. I've been saying this for years. It's coming. It's here. It's now. It's going to be around. And again, going back to investing, it is my personal professional opinion. This is not investing advice. This is just for educational purposes, all of this. My personal opinion is that everyone's portfolio should consist of this new asset class. So the modern portfolio now has digital assets in it. Okay.
Right.
You've got other kinds of assets we talked about in the other video. People can go back and watch that video we did last week. There's real estate, there's paper assets like stocks, there's other hard assets like gold and silver, and then there's currencies, okay? And there's even bonds and oil and copper. Those are assets as well. Digital assets are a new asset class that should be in the modern portfolio.
Okay, so let's backtrack to something that you said a little earlier. You said cryptocurrency is about to go up like this, or Bitcoin is about to go up like this?
That's a great question. So when people think cryptocurrency, they instantly think Bitcoin, because Bitcoin was the first. It was the mother or the father, or whichever, it gave birth to blockchain technology, which now without a doubt, blockchain technology will replace many old technologies. So when you think crypto, you think Bitcoin. They go hand in hand. The majority of the money that is in crypto, the majority of it is in Bitcoin. So it's still the market leader. It's still the market maker. It's still the market mover. So it dictates a lot of what's going to happen in the market. Okay. Because again, it's still a very new market. We're talking about a technology that's now going to be around for hundreds of years, right? So which one to pay attention to? You have to pay attention to Bitcoin because it moves the rest of the industry. And you have to pay attention to Bitcoin because it's still correlated with many of the other assets. So for example, other ones are Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, Litecoin, Zcash. There's so many, Monero, there's Ripple, there's so many. And many of their movements, how they move through the charts and things like that, is tied to Bitcoin. So many of them, when Bitcoin moves, most of them move with it.
Okay, so, okay. And then my question, and I'm speaking purely from a newbie perspective, is there a minimum amount that one would invest in Bitcoin? I mean, obviously you can invest as much as you have or you can, but are there minimums?
No, there essentially are no minimums. I think the biggest minimum would be $100. So there's a lot of different places you can buy Bitcoin. They're all online, of course. And they all have different amounts. And I think the minimum is $100. We can put a link of, a place to get your first, little bit. We'll put a link of some of the ones I use, and you can start with $100. That's pretty much the starting point is $100. That's you can go as low as that.
Okay.
What someone should invest, what should be their minimum? It's all relative. If you have $100,000 in cash, should you do 10 grand? Maybe. It's up to you. How comfortable do you feel with it? Should you do $1,000? Yeah, maybe. Depends on what you feel as well, how comfortable you are. Study the fundamentals, get an understanding first. Start small. In my course that I talk about, that I'm sharing with people here, I share about my first experience when I put $100. Right? I went to an ATM, a Bitcoin ATM, which I used to use. I don't recommend because their prices are always way higher than anywhere else. But it was a great first experience for me because it was an ATM in a gas station, was Bitcoin only, was close to my house. I drove there. I learned how to do it online. I put in cash and I got nothing back. Okay, this is over 3.5 years ago. I got a little beep beep on my phone notification saying, you have 0.1 Bitcoin. Your $300 has been accepted. But in the beginning, it was the scariest thing because I walked up to a machine, gave it $300, and I got nothing back. It's all digital. It's completely new to me. It's completely foreign. It's like doing an e-transfer for the first time.
Right.
Scared the crap out of everybody. What do you mean I'm sending money through email? And America still doesn't have e-transfers. They don't have it. America doesn't have e-transfers. It's a Canada only thing. What a cool thing. Send someone money in an email.
Right.
Amazing.
So, if I was somebody watching this video right now, I'd want to sit down with you for as long as it took to educate myself a little bit more, and or potentially maybe I don't have the time to do all this learning and I want to jump in, or I want to jump in with somebody who knows something, and then I want to educate myself because I don't want to miss a curve, whatever that is.
Yeah, for sure.
So 2 things I know. We can contact you through the website where there's the course. But if somebody wanted to contact you directly, how would they do that?
I could do that on my website as well. You can book a call with me on my website.
Oh,
and
perfect.
I was going to say, I would recommend with the course, right? Like there's lots of information you can find on YouTube, by the way, tons. People promoting stuff and some scams and whatever, this and that, but there's a lot of just great free information where you can find a lot about crypto and Bitcoin because it's such a hot topic right now.
Yeah, but the thing about YouTube is that you don't know which information is credible and which isn't. I know that you're credible and I can trust whatever comes out of your mouth, right?
Thank you.
Can't necessarily trust YouTube unless you sent me the link.
That's a great point. Isn't that interesting, right? Isn't that interesting? Very cool. Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, the starter course is a great way to start everything you need to know about Bitcoin in 2 hours or less. That's what it's called. And I've even put some modern updates in there because there's obviously been changes. I did that course three years ago. So there's been changes, there's been updates, there's been progress, there's been many, many, many very cool changes. You know what I mean? Lots of great progress in this industry. You know, like Fidelity is offering their own Bitcoin trading now. TD Ameritrade, which is TD in the US, they're starting to offer. It's just a matter of time before the Canadian banks have their own trading systems, because right now they're losing out on this profit, right? This is money they want. Every time you make a trade through your bank, you know, to buy Tesla stock or to buy Rogers stock or Tim Hortons stock, they make a piece. So they want the same thing for the crypto. People are buying
Right.
crypto right now. They want a
Yeah.
piece of that and they're losing. So it's just a matter of time before they have their own platform up and running. Just a matter of time.
All right. So I think you've left us with a lot of food for thought and, more importantly, access in how to play this game and deal with it at this time. So thank you so much. I'm clear we can go on forever, you know, and that you can go on forever.
Yeah.
And again, you know, maybe we'll look at having you come on again and do something a little bit more advanced in the future.
Sure.
Thank you so much for being with us, sharing your time and knowledge, and pointing us in the right direction at this time.
My pleasure. My pleasure. I acknowledge the people that are watching this video that have taken the time to learn and educate themselves on this growing asset, this growing trend. And this is a great first step. This is a great, you know, dip your toe in the water, and there's more. There's a whole rabbit hole more, but definitely good on you for dipping your toe in and watching this video.
Awesome. All right. Bye for now. Have a great day.
Thanks, Mimi.